What's up, everybody? This is Spencer Gotchas for Gotcha Reviews, and today I'll be talking about Ford versus Ferrari, one of my most anticipated movies this year, and it is about the legendary car designer Carroll Shelby, played by Matt Damon, and the impeccable driver Ken Miles, played by Christian Bale, and their attempt to do the impossible: beat Ferrari at Le Mans. Now, this movie holds a very, very special place in my heart because while I was living in Los Angeles, I got the incredible opportunity to actually work on set for this film. It was an awesome week on set. I got to be at the Le Mans set and do a bunch of different jobs. I got to hold the interesting position of being a production assistant and a background actor. So not only did I get to be in some of the shots, in some of the crowd shots at Le Mans, but also I got to actually work as a crew member on this film. And yes, I got to see the stars as well. So I was on set with Matt Damon, Christian Bale, and Jon Bernthal, which Jon Bernthal actually said hello to me one day. I cannot believe this movie is actually out. I worked on this movie about a year ago, so actually getting to see this movie in theaters was something really special to me, and actually getting to see what it looks like being on an actual Hollywood set and seeing it being translated to film. It's hard to explain how happy I was watching this film. But with that out of the way, what did I actually think about this film? This movie is stellar, and I'm not saying that because I was part of the process. This movie takes the topic of racing, a thing that I'm not really versed in. I don't watch a lot of racing, but this movie does such a great job of breaking it down for people like me, people who don't watch races every week, and makes it understandable what's going on. Like, Christian Bale plays this amazing driver who knows every single bit of a car, and every time he gets into a car, drives it and steps out of it and says, hey, this is what's wrong with it. He puts it in words that I can understand, and it makes me feel like I know exactly what he's talking about. And that is something special that this movie does. It makes me feel more attached to the subject matter, even though, as I said, I couldn't care less about racing, to be honest with you. Matt Damon also does a great job of this movie, basically being the business middleman between Henry Ford II and his cronies and Ken Miles, as they're constantly at odds with each other. This movie being about racing, of course there are going to be racing scenes in it, and James Mangold handles them brilliantly. Every single race in this movie had me on the edge of my seat and holding my breath, which is a huge compliment because since this is based on a true story, I kind of knew who was going to win these races, but still, I was glued to the screen for every single turn of this race, wondering what was going to happen. So props to James Mangold on how he handled these racing scenes. They are just absolutely beautiful. James Mangold also does a really great job of showing you why Ken Miles was such a celebrated racer. Like, he is a genius behind the wheel, but also he really knows how to push a car to its limits. He knows what's going to happen. He feels the car, he is with the car, and this movie does an impeccable job, and Christian Bale does an impeccable job of showing you why he is one of the most recognizable, celebrated drivers in history. My really only complaint in this movie is not necessarily a complaint at all. It's actually more of another compliment, but actually, just let me explain. So, as I said, Henry Ford Jr. is in this movie, and he plays as I said, the business side of this whole thing. And his cronies are there to basically look over this process on how Carroll Shelby and Ken Miles are building this car. They're putting a lot of money into it. So I understand from a business standpoint, it is important to them to kind of look over the process. But this movie really paints these guys in a very bad light. It paints the company Ford in a really bad light. So every time that Matt Damon and Christian Bale kind of make progress in racing, these guys come in and step forward and basically do something in their mind is like, oh, this is a very smart business decision. But the way that the movie paints these two characters building the car as basically the heroes, the unsung heroes, it's just so painful to watch, even though you're supposed to be rooting for Ford. Henry Ford Jr. and his cronies do so many things that make me furious in the film. It makes me sad in the film. It ultimately makes this a tragic story, which I was not really prepared for. And so walking out of this movie, I was a little conflicted with the story, which is a total plus for this film because going into it, I thought this was going to be a paint by the numbers. We were down, Ford was down, and with the luck, we're going to come back and beat him at Le Mans. But the way that the movie plays out and the way that the true events play out, it's not as happy as I thought it was going to be. But as I said, it's a plus for the movie because it handled them beautifully. I also want to give a big shout out to the look of this film. James Mangold does a really great job of making this movie look like it is based in the 60s. And the set design and the costumes, and even he put a little bit of grain in there to make this movie seem like it was made earlier than it actually was. So props to him on that. The movie looks gorgeous. In the end, Ford v Ferrari is an awesome movie. Definitely one of the best movies I've seen this year, and I can't believe I'm saying that because I was actually part of the process, and I promise you that is not swaying my thoughts on this movie. Trust me, if I was part of this movie and it turned out to be bad, I would tell you guys that it's bad and I would laugh about it. But I was lucky enough to be a part of now this brilliant film, and I just can't describe to you how happy I felt sitting there watching this movie in theaters. Please go see this movie because I couldn't spot myself in the background, but maybe you can. So I need everybody to go see this movie and keep an eye out on the stands at Le Mans because I'm in there somewhere. And if you spot me, please reach out, let me know. My name is Spencer Gotchas. This is Gotcha Reviews. That's my thoughts on Ford versus Ferrari. Please like, share, subscribe to my channel. Please. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you later. Bye.